It's that time again. It's the Burky and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about. Hey, it's Burky and Badger, episode 73, Counting on Players. Welcome, Babblites, to the kingdom of Burky and Badger's Board Game Babble Show and the wonderful kingdom of Babylot. I'm your rightful ruler, King Burky, and I'm the host of this elegant podcast, which is streamed live on YouTube via StreamYard and Facebook Live for your viewing enjoyment. Yes, everyone here is a board game enthusiast, from your humble king right down to the lowest of the low leg carving carpenter. A leg carving carpenter. Speaking of the lowest of low, our court jester will explain what a leg carving carpenter is.
Well, the leg carving carpenter is the guy that does the boring part of the table, the legs.
Ah, the legs.
The leg, you know, you do game toppers, and
yes,
you know, I look at my game topper and I think, wow, that's magnificent. And then I look at my plastic cheap table underneath and I go, oh my God.
That's the beauty of it, though. That's the beauty.
That's the beauty.
Man, you pop that baby up, you're on a folding table, and you're game toppering in elegance.
Yes. Apart from the wobble, but
are you desiring a custom crafted carved leg? Is that what you're yearning for, sir?
I think I'm yearning for some super glue, so I can just like super glue the folded plastic table together so it doesn't move. And
you need some super glue.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, Sir Barry, what we're going to be talking about in episode 73.
73. We're doing an episode on 73 about counting on players.
Counting on players, yes.
I've got my glasses on, but I still can't read. So, in this episode, we're going to talk quickly about what's been happening in Babylon before moving into our roundup of rumors and things that make the king go, Wow,
that was fun.
That was fun. What was that?
That was an anomaly.
That was my future self talking to you. Then we're going to do our good, bad, and ugly segment, which is our first impressions of new games that we've played for the first time. And then we're going to finish off with our Babble topic. Yeah, this is quite a short show, but hey, maybe it might be longer. But we need to count on some players. Yes, we're talking about player counts in board games. So if you're watching live, you have any questions for us, or if you want to play along with our good, the bad, and the ugly game, you can join us in the comments on Facebook and on YouTube. And please keep it clean.
Yes, of course.
You, Kabuki.
Is Kabuki in the house?
No, Kabuki is not in the house.
Not yet. In the kingdom of Babylot, of course. Well, we are going to start out this podcast talking about the things that have been happening in Babylot. So, what has been happening in your world in Babylot?
Well, you know what? I look out the window and time just seems to be fleeting. I don't know where the time is gone. It was like 1 minute we were at Essen, the next minute the next thing has come along. Tomorrow I'm going away to a Seventh Continent convention. So it seems to be go. And
tell us about this invitation with the Seventh Continent.
Okay. The invitation, it arrived on Facebook. It's an event. It's a weekend away in Sens, which is about 2 hours drive from where I am in France. And basically it's been organized by a fan club on Facebook who love the Seventh Continent, and they've managed to rope me in as a guest of honor, along with the artist Ludwig, who will be bringing a prototype. I don't know if you saw it, Essen, but a prototype of the new game that they are working on, which is the Seventh Citadel. I've heard some really amazing things about it, that it's like not like the Seventh Continent, but it uses the same mechanisms as the Seventh Continent. But I still haven't played it. So, this is going to be a weekend away for me again, as you know, being put up in a B&B and have meals served to me on a silver platter, like what you get all the time, sire.
Yes, of course.
And there'll be lots of gaming and lots of Seventh Continent, I bet. But I haven't seen the schedule of what's going on, if there's like a quiz or like a speed run.
And you're like the guest of honor because you helped produce the soundtrack for Seventh Continent.
I did indeed, yes. And that will be interesting to, I mean, I every now and again I hear someone say, you know, thank you, it was really, really fantastic soundtrack. And it'd be interesting to get some more feedback, I mean, from our other players.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some players that don't play with music and they just like to play the game and have fun. But it'd be interesting to get some feedback. And again, it's going to be interesting to find out what the designers, Bruno and Ludwig, want for the next installment.
Well, and it was so fun seeing you at Essen. You know, of course, we had a booth at Essen right next to Games Workshop. So Game Toppers was really well displayed. But you brought your personal Watson Game Topper to demo games in the Bombaics booth, and with the whole team there. And the feedback was like crazy incredible. They loved having that topper in the booth. They just went on and on about it to me, like, well, we should have had these in all of the booth, because it was, people just were so drawn to walk in and play. And then I saw it another time, you're sitting down there playing the new Abyss game with Bruno Catala, one of my favorite designers.
I wasn't actually sat down with him, but they come along like for 1 hour every day, Bruno and Charles, the designers of the Abyss, and they demo the game for an hour, which is, you know, great for people to, you know, come along, play, get like a card signed or something, some artwork signed. The booth, bam, 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 all day. So again, at Essen, those 4 days were gone, and I didn't even see them go, because, you know, every day for me was the same. Sat at the table, demo the games, people come, people have fun, people go, people come, have fun, go, and it's just, where did the time go? I hardly saw you. It felt really strange. You were beat and tired, and
it's just, you know, that Essen show is something. You know, people talk about the two largest shows, you know, Gen Con and Essen, and there's this, you know, which one is the biggest? Well, in my opinion, Essen is by far the biggest. Essen feels, Gen Con is chaotic to me. It's a very large, singular type of hall, whereas there's 7 halls at Essen, 6 main halls. But now that 7th hall, they're allowing people to walk through, which it wouldn't surprise me at all if next year that hall is full of booths of product or food items. Who knows?
Yeah,
because it is just such a just getting from one hall to the next hall is a big thing for me. Just remembering exactly how you get over there quickly.
It's like a mini big labyrinth, isn't it?
Exactly. It's just like a huge dungeon, except not underground. I found I really enjoy Essen. Every day at lunch I go into the Galleria and get myself a big honkin' bratwurst every day. €5. I'm just as happy. Just that one bratwurst on that crunchy bun with some hot brown mustard, and I am so happy. The one day I got the spirally potato thingy, and I only did it once, but that was flipping awesome as well. So much enjoy that. But the booth time, when you're a vendor versus just going to enjoy the show, you know, we had to be in our booth at 9 a.m. in the morning, the hall opening at 10 o'clock, and the booth stays open till 7 o'clock. So you don't get out of there till 7:38. It's a grueling schedule. And we had 3 full-time people in our booth My son Josiah was there. Rob McBride from Scyther Gaming was demoing over the Over Battle, the All War, and helping us with Game Toppers. And we, Dave Lutza from the Dice Tower fame, had a couple of his friends, a couple of college gals that speak German that helped us at some different shifts. So we had some German speaking people in the booth, which was fantastic. And they did such a great job. But it's so exhausting. It's hard to go connect with people like I normally would. I was in several business meetings, but they were very short, and then back to the booth, and very little time to look around. Even as a media creator, which, now with Game Toppers being successful and demanding so much of my time, it's really difficult for me to shift gears into getting any content for media, making videos and showing pictures of all the new cool games. The truth is, I could probably tell you maybe 5 games that even are on my radar new that came from Essen, because I was just so crazy busy being in the Game Topper booth and meeting with people, which was all wonderful. It was all great, but you don't experience the show the same way when you're a media creator going to a show, or when you're a vendor going to the show, or just a person enjoying the show as entertainment.
Yeah, it's hectic. It's big, and you are busy from the get-go. So 10 o'clock comes, you don't see the day go. 4 o'clock arrives, and it starts to calm down, and then you think, oh, I'm hungry. And then you get something to eat, and then it's like, well, we're going to a restaurant in a couple of hours, so do I eat or don't I eat? And it's busy.
It's a crazy time, but what a wonderful thing to be able to go to Germany. The first day we arrived a day earlier, and we got to go to Cologne, Germany, saw the cathedral, which was fantastic. Dave Luza took us there with his wife Elka, and Mandy, the board game pinup girl. She was there with them, and she joined us. And my son Josiah, we got to eat at a German restaurant called Fur, F-U-R, with the little Fuhr with the little dots on top. But we had potato pancakes and sausage, and what a great time enjoying a little bit of the countryside before the show. And then we came home, and Josiah got the con crud, and I couldn't sleep.
Oh dear.
So it took, I'm just starting. The last 2 nights, or the first 2 nights, I've actually got more than 6 hours of sleep. And for almost a week, I had 4 hours of sleep a night, and it was brutal.
Yeah, very, very brutal. I got no concrod. That's the one good thing I think happened. No concrod. Even with all the handshaking, kissing, whatever I did, I'm okay.
Hey, I have one more just really quick thing before we get into our poll about the last show and our segment, things that make us go, I am now, again, my wife and I, Joan, are proud grandparents of a baby girl. My second oldest daughter, Maddie, had a baby girl, 6 pounds, 14 ounces, 19 and a half inches. Felicity Joan Wongeren is her name. Baby and mama are doing fantastic. She was able to go home today. They thought she had an infection. Ended up she didn't have an infection, so they were doing precautionary things, but everything's great. Baby's happy. She's feeding. Mama's happy. And I'm a grandfather now for the 3rd time. And my oldest daughter, Hannah, is due within 2 weeks. So we'll have 4 grandchildren within a very short period of time.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Very, very, very cool.
Yes, it is very, very cool. I don't know that sensation, but it's really, really cool.
Well, why don't we, do you have information you want to talk about with the poll?
I do indeed. I will pop up the poll like so. Ta-da! On our last show, we had Vincent Vergongen.
Yeah.
I butchered that. Joined us for talking about what is immersion. And I put up this poll.
Yeah.
Afterwards. And it asks everyone, which is the one thing that enhances your gaming experience to the point that you feel totally immersed. And as you can see from the poll, unless you're listening to the podcast, that the number one spot that had 96 votes was having good friends play.
Yeah.
I kind of shocked myself because I kind of like fell upon that like 10 minutes before we went live. But that seems to be like the most popular vote, which is cool.
What was the next one was
58 votes having upgraded components like meeples, minis, metal coins, etc.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, they do help, having something to twiddle or something, I mean, look at Splendor, and Splendor's just, a really kind of game. Wow, it's a good game, but having those chips in your hand and just, I don't know, they do something. They do magic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thirdly, there's music in the background with 46 votes. After that, with 25 votes, having your minis painted.
That's immersive. Yep.
Yeah, that does help. 21, role-playing. 16, something else that is added to the list below. He scrolls down, and there's nobody's put anything on the list below.
Well, I did my own poll
for
Game Toppers LLC. And I found out that 100% of Game Topper backers feel that the Game Topper makes every game they play immersive. This was a separate poll that I did that was totally unbiased. I didn't phrase it in any way that would make Game Toppers look good. I just let people gush about how good Game Toppers are. And I made just little statements to help support that in the questioning. And of course, they all were 100% in favor of that being the most immersive thing, thus negating your poll.
Okay. Is that because it's not on there? Mood lighting, dressing up, having beverages, snacks, playing on an elegant table, 7 people.
There might have been something that if they said 100% Game Toppers made their games the most immersive, that we would see an online version of Burky putting a pie in Barry's face. And I don't think that swayed anyone. Nobody wants to see that.
Well, that might happen soon. So for me, Game Toppers, they do absorb you. It's just that you don't think about that you're sad, and it feels, as I've said many times before, when I sit at any other table, my elbows ache on the corners of a table, whereas on the Game Topper, I have not that problem at all, and so that doesn't pull me out. So, I find it really difficult. We had game night last night, one of the first ones I've had in a very long time, and I find it really difficult to just play on a standard table anymore because you're hunched over, you're not sitting upright, and all the features of a Game Topper with the cup holders, the card slots, the thematic game mat, easy to pick up your cards, all of those things that Game Toppers provide. That we always say it that Game Topper will upgrade every game that you play. So it's the ultimate accessory. Wow, you look at it at Essen at the Bombay stand. We had 2 versions of Abyss Conspiracy going on, one on the Game Topper and one on a normal topper, and the difference was the look. Again, having the right mat made the cards pop out off the table, and again the mat again was easy to pick the cards up and shift them around, slide them, and it's just comfort.
And you got the first steel gray sample mat that I had, and the Viking mat. You have the first ones that are out in the wild are at your house in France.
No.
Yep.
No. Holy crap.
Yeah. Wunderbar.
Wunderbar. Well, thank you.
Well, with that, if you want to roll that video, we'll go right into things that sponsorship video. We'll go right into the things that make the king go,
Which is
This is the Board Game News, where King Burky reflects on some of the current things happening in the board game industry. Some may be good, some may be bad, but they're all things that made our king go,
So what's been making King Burky go,
Basically, there was one thing that I looked at. There's not been a lot in the news, honestly, that's been catching my attention. But this, I don't know if it's news necessarily, but it's a point of interest. My good friends at CMON, Come On Games, Cool Mini or not, whatever you want to call them, right? I really do love this company. I've gotten to know many of the principal people that work there, and a lot of the people at the conventions that work with Come On, and they've just been so delightful. I cannot express how pleased I am to work with them and have that affiliation. And that's just so sincere. Carol Spain has just been so wonderful to work with. Natalie and Adam and Pete Shirey, and I've met Dave Peretti and David Dowse, the founder. Just such wonderful interactions. Well, long and short of it, they came out with another Kickstarter, Zombicide 2nd Edition. Well, the thing that made me go, is in my mind, this was a little bit of a remake of the original game, and yet they've streamlined some mechanics. They've added different zombie monsters. Of course, all the crazy, awesome sculpts that Cool Mini is so famous for, the stretch goals that are just blowing my mind, how many they offer and how wonderful all of those are. I know people have different feelings about this, so that's totally fine. If you don't like the exclusivity type of things that they do, how they utilize Kickstarter, all that, that's fine. I really don't have a comment on that, but it's more for me that this campaign raised $3.4 million. And it's basically just a little bit of a reskinning of their original game. Look at all this stuff. I mean, it's fantastic. For the component upgrades are significant. I'm sure that, as development goes on, they're always improving their games. But I just thought, a lot of people are thinking Cool Mini is maybe going on the downside because last year they had a down segment, down quarter. No, these guys are knocking it out of the park. They have a ton of things going on. And this is just indicative, again, of the popularity of the product that they make. It really made me go, this is just another Zombicide, but it's better, and people embraced it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean,
they got metal dice in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And there's a role-playing game as well. So that's another thing which a lot of companies are doing, I find, is they're producing a board game, but they produce a role-playing game because then you can use the minis in the role-playing game as well as any other components, maps and bits and bobs. Yeah. And role-playing is starting to come into the limelight a bit more with the success of Critical Hit and other Critical Role, sorry.
Yeah, Rick Ortloff is in the castle. Hey, Rick, how you doing? That will be one huge Kickstarter you can paint, brother.
Yeah, and I don't know anyone that has painted yet.
Wow.
Actually, I don't know if my friend who has all of the original Zombicide has actually backed that one.
We had at Essen, going back there, the Come On booth had some beautiful presentation of Death May Die, the Cthulhu game. They also had Zombicide with a great big castle on a custom mat that we printed. We actually printed custom mats for all of their games. It looked like $1 million there. They had God of War and they had the Song of Ice and Fire and all of these things prominently displayed on these custom mats, and this custom Cthulhu mat that we did for Death May Die with their art direction. It was fantastic. And just seeing their products displayed the way they do. And I just always get excited about playing a come on game.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see their booth. I saw very few booths at Essen.
That's kind of the bummer, isn't it?
It is kind of a bummer, but at the same time,
we should next year. Let's schedule one day where you don't have to work, and one day where I don't have to work, and we can just play.
Okay, I'll see if that is at all
You
possible.
tell Bombaics you're gonna play one day. I want one day to play because I got to make videos and I got to talk to the world about. I got to give the people what they want.
Yeah, but I never know. Maybe next year I might be working for Board Game Geek instead of Bombaics. We don't know.
Well, there you go. That'd be
good. Okay, something
but
which
we'll tell Scott that you get one day off.
Yeah, we'll tell Scott I get one day off, and
Yeah.
I'll make Rodney work like a dog.
Yeah, work Rodney give Chaz and Rodney an extra shift.
Okay, something which made me go. Excuse me. Something which made me go cough was the announcement of a new version of King of Tokyo, talking about reskinning of Zombicide.
Yeah,
they now have a reskinning of King of Tokyo called Dark Edition. OMG. Which is apparently the same game, but they've gone for this kind of really dark black board and characters. They seem like they're kind of like Hellboyish now instead of they're still cartoony, but they're doing slow reveals of each of the monsters every month, and that looked a bit different there. There's a tracker down the side there. So there might be something new added to the game, but we shall see. I mean, there's not a lot of information on it at the moment. That the art, as you can see, looks amazing. I can't believe I just said that. This is the first time I've seen these pictures, and that looks pretty cool. That gorilla with just yellow highlights. I don't know if I'd be tempted to get it myself, but that kind of made me go, as well. It's like, what are they? Is this the norm now? Are board games now going to be just reskinning themselves every couple of years?
Yeah,
to hit other audiences. I know that the original Abyss has just hit 5 years old, and they've brought not a new version, the same version, but with a different box cover. Because if you remember, Abyss had 5 different box covers.
I love them.
They bring out an anniversary edition box cover. So,
okay. Yeah, if that's all the differences, I'd never jump in on it. But you know what, like this here, I don't know if the theme is getting me that excited that I'd want another same old game just because it looks different. I like it probably I don't know. I got to play with the king. Yeah, thank you very much.
I love you just the way you are. Do. Sorry, Billy Joel.
The way you are. Yeah, I agree. So that's things that made us go,
This video was made possible with the help of Game Toppers. Upgrade your gaming experience with a Game Topper.
Boom. There it is. And you can still late pledge for a Game Topper now. And we're offering international distribution. 18 countries in Europe, United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the United States, and anywhere else in the world for other shipping charges. It's surprising. We have a bunch of people buying toppers in Singapore and other countries that we're shipping from Australia. It costs a little bit more, but it can be done, and it's much more affordable than shipping from the United States. But anyway, wonderful opportunities there. Jump on board, and things are progressing fantastic with Game Toppers. There's a lot of work going on to schedule all of our fulfillment and get everything out as quick as possible. So that's going very well. In fact, after this show, I'll be working on an update today. So there you go. With that, we're going right into our next segment, the good, the not so bad, and the ugly. Boom.
Boom. I've just realized I've got no drop for that.
Well, sing the drop.
Okay. There we go. Before we get copyright infringed.
So bad.
I did all the other drops apart from that.
Yeah. Well, we missed that drop. You got to see an ugly drop.
Yeah. Not a mic drop, an ugly drop.
Ugly drop.
So
ugly.
Maybe the ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly is our first impression segment. We're going to talk about a couple of games.
Yeah.
We do this kind of game showy style, so we describe the game vaguely and see if the other person can guess what game it is, and then try and guess if they liked it or not. It's good, bad, and ugly. Good, not so bad, and ugly. Good game means that it's a game that you immediately want to jump back to and play it now. A not so bad game is a game which is, it's okay. And, if it passes under your nose, you might say, yes, I'll sit at the table and play that. And an ugly game is a game that you'll just walk on by. Do, 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 do. Oh, my headache is gone. Wow.
That's good. Well, the first game that I'll be describing to you, this game is actually what I'm going to be describing is an upgrade, expansion to a game. Okay. It has had several expansions. I actually picked it up at Essen, surprisingly. Walking to my booth, was able to see that this was available in Germany, and immediately Josiah and I said, we have to have that, and immediately paid for it and muled it all the way back home. This game has some of the ugliest art on the original cover that has been out there. A lot of people complain about this art, but it's actually one of our favorite games.
Oh,
this game has a lot of components, has several different maps. It allows you to have a fantastic action card selection where your actions are taken by placing cards and then allowing yourself to refresh those actions.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little bit of urgency because you're going to different cities across these maps, and you want to be there first so that you can build in those cities quicker than others or at a lower price than others.
Okay.
You still not seeing it yet?
No, every time it's like, he's just turned, the last word has just turned me around.
The designer of this game is readily recognized for his rondels, which this game does not have.
No, it's definitely not that then. It's definitely not that.
No, this is not a rondel game.
Okay.
But the designer is noted for it. You can play up to 6 players.
Okay. Okay. Ben Lunches
says,
says,
Ben's in the castle. Woohoo!
Sif Jaffrey.
Oh, that's a designer. No, that's not the designer. The designer is Matt Gertz.
Okay. I still don't know what the game is.
You still don't know. Well, I'm going to show you then the artwork that most people cannot stand.
Okay. Oh, Concordia. No.
Okay, so what we're talking about now is the expansion for Concordia. And this box is so heavy. It's like, pooh, pooh. Last year, I got the Venus expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, personally, I don't really mind the art. This is better, I think, than the first cover, but it was fine for me. This game here has so many different maps. We actually were able to add the extra colonists and so forth, but we picked up the new expansion for Venus that includes the fishermen. And what the fishermen do, did I lose Barry?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. What is included that it has another fish market, and in this fish market, you basically get to go up there and trade. And there's some places that you can trade one fish to get a certain resource, or to possibly make another purchase of one of the cards that are available. This fish market adds such a different dynamic to the trading versus just having the Mercantor action card, for instance. It goes to where you buy and sell up to 2 items. Well, now you've got other opportunities. The Salsa expansion that was added before also created a wild card resource. The Venus expansion allowed you to get these extra tiles that maybe you could trade 3 items at the Mercantor. You also had a new prefect card. This here has a new card that replaces the Perfectimus Maximus. We call it the Perfectimus Rectimus. and now we've got the Perfectimus Pissimus or something like that. And so we always have fun with that card, but that goes around to each player when they are doing their prefect action, which allows them to gain resources from the regions that they control. Based on all of that, I know it's a very vague description of the game. How do you think I feel about it?
Well, you must love it, because if you got the original game and then you bought this new version expansion for it, then I would say, yeah, this is a good game for you.
Absolutely great. It might be our family's favorite game.
Yeah.
My wife and I, and Josiah and his girlfriend, we went up to my daughter Maddie's house last Saturday, right before she was planning it. They were going to induce her on Monday, so we wanted to go up and visit the day before, basically. And we played this game with Maddie and Josiah, and we played a 3-player version. It plays pretty seamlessly. Learning the new expansion was very simple. It just added another dynamic. And it's like, gosh, they've had so many different expansions that have, in a sense, increased the complexity, and yet it doesn't feel like it's more complex. It actually, every one of us said, oh, this is better. And it's like, how could it get better? We love this game, but it did make it better. So that new Venus expansion with the fisherman, top notch.
Wow. Yeah. I've played it once. I enjoyed it. I have never purchased it because of the size of the box. Not the box art itself, but the size of the box, the price of the box. It just seemed to happen at the wrong time for me. I was on my culling phase. So, but yeah good choice. Good choice. I'll have to come and play that with you sometime. Okay. A new game that I've been playing. Excuse me a sec. Clear my voice. I picked this up at Essen. I'd heard some good things about it. It comes in a small box, and there's 2 versions of this small box. Basically, the base game is 2 base games, but each base game has a different expansion, and these 2 games can be played together, so you can open up to 12 players.
12 players.
Yeah,
okay.
Which I don't think is going to be that possible. It's a game which involves rolling dice and then drawing the results of those dice onto your own individual player board. Yes, it's a roll and write, and I'm not really blown away by roll and writes. So there's a clue there. But this roll and write is about trains, and there are quite a few train roll and writes out there as well. But this one's pretty simple. And you roll dice, you draw whatever the result of the dice is onto your board, and try and create a map. Do that for 7 rounds, and then you count up your points and try to not have dead ends and try to make connections to stations, and there you go.
Gosh, roll and write train game. This one's off my radar. I don't know what it is.
Okay. It is a Railroad Inc.
Railroad
from
Inc.
Horrible Games, who I did manage to go and see their stand.
Okay, great.
Yep, I've got the blue edition. There's also a red edition. The blue edition has expansions which include river building and lake building. As you can see, it's blue.
Yeah.
But it's a very simple roll and write. I'm quite taken aback by it. I'm telling you with my answer.
Yeah.
I'm quite taken aback by its simplicity. And for some reason, it's kind of addictable. I've played it once, and then I just want to play it again. It's just, I don't know, nice.
So you think it's good then?
Yeah, I like it. It's not fantastic. It's not like I need to play it now, but it's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that again. See if I can do better the next time. It's really nice, kind of light, kind of roll and write, with no stress and no fuss.
You know, I think this is kind of we could even do a show on this, just roll and write craze, because I'm not totally enamored with most roll and write games. I like roll. Oh gosh, I just lost it. The Eagle Griffin game, Roll Through the Ages.
Yeah.
I really like that one, but I generally don't want to have to write something down and scribble on a piece of paper and keep notes. And I generally don't like that personally, but people seem crazy enamored with this type of mechanism.
Yeah, they do. It is strange. And eventually you're going to run out of paper. And that's another good thing about this roll and write. They use like the wiper markers.
Yeah.
They are amazing. You know, I think about the wiper markers in something like Telestrations, and after about 5 or 6 uses, there's like this black smear, so your board's not white anymore. This is
ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah. But so far, no ghosts. It's like, wow. Amazing.
That's great.
But, yeah.
Well done. I have another game. This was my most anticipated game of the year last year for coming to Kickstarter, or coming this year, that I backed last year as a Kickstarter. This is from a company that I respect greatly. I actually have a connection with this company in that we share their artist for some of our game mats. So there's actually, hey, not a roll and write guy. Jesse Shaky is in the castle. How you doing, buddy? Well, so this particular game is themed with one of my absolute favorite themes.
Vikings.
Vikings. You know what it is, don't you?
No, I don't. Okay,
well, this is much more of a Euro game. The mechanisms, mechanics, if you will, are much more Euro. There's a very interesting turn selection mechanic that allows everybody to take part in that action when it's that person's turn.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, this is a sister or a brother game to its first game in this universe.
Okay.
It's a Viking theme, so the universe. Hey, Andy is here. How you doing, bro? Andy Nelson, good friend in Minneapolis. Andy and K King. So, Jesse knows because last night we had game night.
All right.
Jesse got to come and play.
I'll try not to look at Jesse's comments there. I'm thinking Vikings Gone Wild.
No.
Season 10.
It's in the land of Midgard.
Oh, okay. Midgard Vikings. Vikings of Midgard. Midgard Vikings Gone Wild.
The first game in the series was called Champions of Midgard. The new game is
Slaves of Midgard.
Reavers of Midgard.
Oh, Reavers of Midgard. Okay.
The Reavers. Look at that in all its glory. This box even has embossing on it. It's amazing. Look at the embossing on the box.
Very nice.
Where it's just popping out. This is a Kickstarter. Tons of components. This box is crazy heavy. I also have the mat for it, but our artist that did our Viking mat, his name is Jaroslav Radecki from Poland. He did the artwork for Reavers of Midgard, and we were able to play this game on that mat. Amazing. Just amazing. This Kickstarter came in. There's been a little bit of a hubbub about the Kickstarter because there was a couple little production issues. In my mind, they're little, but I understand how people get concerned about things not being as they hoped. The insert, the thickness is a little bit thinner, and so the insert was a little flimsy, and they were supposed to have linen cards, and they ended up getting normal black cardstock cards. I prefer linen also, but the truth is, it doesn't affect the play at all, in my opinion. The artwork is fantastic. The components, I feel like I got $100, $125 game for a much lesser pledge. Right. It's beautiful. As far as the gameplay, one of the things that happens is each person has a turn, and you're going to go to one of a variety of different places. You might go to raid villages, or you might go up to other places on the board. I'm trying to remember the actual names of all of them. I'm so bad at that. You can raid villages, or you can go up to get territories, or you can go on the ocean and do a raid. You can a place where you can actually get artifacts. There's like 7 or 8 different places there that allows you to go. When you go there, the first person to go to one of those spots is going to get a bonus. Like maybe you get to pull 3 items instead of just 1. The second person will get to pull 2 items, and you go clockwise. The third and fourth person will just get 1. So whoever goes to that particular spot gets the most. But everybody gets something. And then this happens in progression. It goes all the way around. There are a lot of, you're collecting dice, which are your Vikings. And these 3 different types of dice, they're all different. But these dice allow you to get battle dice. They allow you to conquer monsters. They allow you to do a variety of things. But when you get your Reavers, you can have a leader that he'll get some of your dice to be wild. So there's some dice mitigation type of things. There is set collection when you're collecting different sets that have cumulative scoring. There's a ton of ways to score points, so you're never feeling like you're left out. What do you think I think about this?
Well, Jesse says that he loves it. He's just not very good at it. So I would say some of that love has spilled over from you.
Absolutely love it. I wasn't totally grasping all the strategy. I played a demo at Gen Con of 2 rounds, and I liked the mechanic, but didn't get a very good feel of it. Last night was the first playthrough. By about the 4th round, there's 6 rounds, I believe, I started understanding what I needed to do, but I didn't start out doing it very well.
Okay.
Josiah cleaned us totally out. I mean, he got like 260 points or something crazy. Wow. And I was second with about 165, and everybody else was real close to that. That was kind of an odd play. I think Josiah just happened to get, he's just so amazing at comboing everything perfectly. Now, there's very little luck with him. He just figures it out. He knows, he'll read those rules. I've never seen anything like it. Anybody be able to read. I've been around a lot of smart gamers, but this kid, he'll read that rule book and a thick rule book. In no time, he'll be able to teach the game and know how to play the game and what the strategy is. And if you have a rules clarification, he'll know where to find it just like that. I've never seen anything like it. Oh, you've played with him.
Yes. I think. I can't remember.
So when we play with Josiah, we're always playing for second.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best way to play. We'll just play for the fun. That's what I do.
So, but I love that action selection. You're always engaged too. I want to talk about player count when we get to our Babel topic, and I have a few thoughts regarding this game, but I just thought the production quality was really good. I thought the theme, you felt the theme. I felt immersed in the artwork. I felt in the environment. Even though it was different than Champions of Midgard, which I think I like better because I think I like the worker placement and things about Champions just a little better. But this one had such a different feel that I love that action selection where every time you got something, you might not got the best one, but then you had to kind of figure out what's going to happen next and who's going to go first. And so it put together that puzzle for me. It was very satisfying.
Cool. Going back to the dry razor pens, Andy was saying that Saint Malo from Ravensburg has the best dry eraser markers.
Wow. Yeah, we got to play that when they were here during the Kickstarter. They showed us how to play that game. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe technology is starting to work for board games. Roll and Writes are going to be ruling the world, probably. There probably won't be an app version of a Roll and Write, though, will there? Or will there?
So do you have one more game you want to
I have one more
about?
game. Okay, very easy game. In this game, you are building houses out of straw, brick, and the other thing, wood. That's the one. And you'll be doing this with some, by going to markets, by playing cards and allocating them. And then hopefully you're the only person that goes to that market to pick up the wood, straw, or brick. And that way you can get it all. But you have to be careful because eventually during the course of the game, there will be some of these big bad creatures like the big bad wolf or maybe an ogre or a troll, which will hamper your adventures, so to speak. But don't worry, you can always pick up a friend as well. A friend will help you out, give you a special power, which will be different to every other player at the table. But the thing is, you'll probably, during the course of the game, you'll probably end up with quite a few friends, but you won't be keeping them all. You'll be cycling through them from one to the next. As maybe Snow White gives you some help, or maybe Little Red Riding Hood is very useful to you.
I want to. It's something Tales, right?
Yeah, close.
Is it called Fairy Tales?
No.
It's something's.
Well done, Ben. Ben, well done. Yes, boy.
Ben, Grim Forest. Okay.
Yes.
I haven't played. The art of that looks fantastic from our friends at Druid City Games.
Yeah. I've got actually 2 copies here at the moment. One's mine and one's another, which is a friend passing it through me to pass to another. Yes, Grim Tales.
Just passing right through you, huh?
Yeah, or Le Forest Grimm in French, because there's a French version now, which is produced by Lucky Duck. It's a relatively light, small game that comes in a big box with boom, astronomical components.
Yeah, great miniatures.
It's a very, very, I don't know what to say. It's just a very simple kind of worker placement or designation game, which will give you resources, and you just got to build 5 houses before everybody else builds 5 houses. It's as simple as that. But there is all these little things that go on in between turns. As I said, getting a friend to help you along the way. With their special powers, or maybe playing a card which will allow you to place a nasty, evil creature onto the board to hamper the others, and hopefully, place them in the right place that it doesn't hamper yourself. Because there's nothing worse than setting a trap and then walking into that trap yourself. As you can see, the artwork is phenomenal. There is a lot of
amazing,
nice big chunky components. Every player board is individual. All the houses, instead of being just a straightforward piece of card, they are 3D buildings that you construct level by level. And the higher the level, that you unlock things. And as you can see, it's just gorgeously looking. And it was a very successful Kickstarter, apparently.
Yeah. Their games of great production. Well, I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say you think it's good. Not so bad.
Not so bad.
Not so bad.
Yeah, it's we've played it and we played it wrong.
Okay.
we played it and the monsters kind of like built up in areas, and apparently they're not supposed to. Once a monster's been there for a turn, it goes off apparently. But I didn't get that from reading the rules for some strange reason, and it seemed to be kind of like more logical to have a monster there that hung around and caused carnage until maybe a hero come along, like the woodsman, chop them up and turn them into firewood or something. But it's relatively simple. It plays pretty quickly. You can play it in about probably 30 minutes. And this kind of game falls into what our topic is about, player counts. It kind of doesn't work at 2. It probably works better with 4 players playing, because then there's more players going to one zone and therefore causing a bit of competition.
Sure.
Dividing up the rewards there. There's 10 wood there. I'm going there. No one else is going there. Everyone else has already got a lot of wood. And then everyone goes there. And then it's like, oh, God, 10 wood divided by 4.
This really comes to play, too, where people who really appreciate the production value of the game, and then those that are just very much more just the game mechanics, how good of a game it is. Mm-hmm. And I don't have opinion because I don't know. I haven't played this one.
The game mechanics are very, very light.
They're very light.
Yeah. I mean, this could have been in a box kind of the same size as, what can I say, Splendor, and just had the wonderful art, but on cardboard tokens.
What is it rated on BGG?
What is it rated on BGG? It is rated a 7.2.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we're going to move on to our Babble topic. But before we do, we're going to thank our fantastic sponsors, Arcane Wonders. Those of you that have followed Burky and Badger, you know that Arcane Wonders has a special place in our heart. And right from the beginning, with the Sheriff of Nottingham, the good sheriff, of course, you do not have 3 chickens in your bag. We also, you can see behind me there, Royals. You have Critical Mass. We have Good Critters. We have Spoils of War. On my right-hand side over here, we've got Volcanic Island and the new Dragon Scales game. Arcane Wonders, they just really do games well, in my opinion. I love their games. I play them and enjoy all of them. I haven't had a stinker in the bunch. They've got a new game coming out to Kickstarter coming in February called Foundations of Rome. This is an Emerson Matsuuchi game. This is awesome, guys. I got to tell you, Emerson is one of my favorite designers. He's such a great guy. The production of this game, they are pulling out all the stops to do something fantastic. And we might even be doing something to help them with that. It's so exciting to see what they are doing. And they have some other things that I can't talk about coming in the future. But look at that. Foundations of Rome. These sculpts that they're going to have. I've seen some of the new artwork. These things are fantastic. This Kickstarter, I think, is going to be highly successful. The team at Arcane Wonders, Brian Pope, the owner, John Rogers, and now they also have on staff Rob Geislinger, formerly of the Dice Tower, Quartermaster Logistics, and Walter Barber. These guys are putting together something special. And I think you're going to see some fantastic things coming from Arcane Wonders. Check them out at arcanewonders.com.
Yeah, that does look good. I mean, there's Era as well, which has the same kind of look as well. They were kind of building a city, but
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
definitely looks interesting.
Yeah,
Because
I'm excited.
now it is.
And now it's time for the
Burky and Badger's Board Game Babble.
Hey, the battle topic.
Yes.
Today we're talking about player counts.
Mm-hmm.
How many players are the best players? 1, 2, 3? I love to count.
I love to count.
2 players?
Deary me.
Yeah, Ben, it is a big box. Absolutely. That new foundation of Rome is being designed so it fits in a calyx shelf, but it'll take up the whole square. It's crazy awesome.
No room in Rome.
No room.
No.
So, with that, player counts. Do you want to lead us into our segment?
Yes, player counts. How do they change a game? They do change a game. I mean, how many times have you played a game and thought, there's too many players here, or there's not enough players here? And does a player count actually change the actual ambience of the game or the theme of the game as well? Maybe you're playing a kind of dead of winter with 3 players. Is it kind of feel dead because there's no competition in between the players? Or is playing a game with 10 players too much because it takes too long? What games work? What games don't work with multiple kind of combinations of player counts? What do you think? Write something in the comments. Let us know if you have any quims, qualms, or doobie-doos.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some comments from the live chat to find out what you think about different games, player counts, how much of a difference it makes. I think one of the things that you see a lot of times too is with regard to expansions, and expansions typically will add players sometimes. There's also the big solo gaming type of gaming. How many players are involved? How many, when you have player count, how much time it takes to complete a game, and does that improve the game or not? Does it hinder immersion? I mean, there's a lot of different thoughts that we can talk about regarding player counts, and then which games should be at. I mean, we could do 5 shows on games with best 1-player game, best 2-player game, best 3-player games. And we could talk a lot about why we feel each game is that way, but this is a little bit more of a generic conversation.
Yeah. Because for me personally, I get to play mainly 3-player games because there's my wife, my daughter, and myself. And then it drops down to 2 sometimes because only one of them wants to play one type of game. So there's like this battle of what game we playing and who we playing with. So I always have this urge to play 4 players. Most of my best experiences come from playing games at 4 players. And that just seems like a natural kind of set, I feel, for board games.
Yeah.
Board games are normally designed for like X amount. They're not designed for other amounts, but for the reasons of a publisher to sell their game, they do put on their boxes, this plays from 2 to 6, or this plays from 5 to 3. And again, they're just trying to help sales, and they try to make the game playable at those counts as well. But sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah. Ben has a comment there.
Yeah. Oh, wrong one. Ben says, I think it's a pain. Publishers and designers are publishing a game to appease everyone that wants a solo or a 5-player version, which is is the case. I think I was just talking to Georgina from Holy Grail today, and they started their Kickstarter again, Titan, which is currently running, and it's a reboot of their first Kickstarter, which they cancelled due to the fact that the price of the game was expensive. It was 110 euros for the game, but it included a 5-player version and a solo version. But they were getting lots of people saying, we don't want a 5-player version. We don't want a solo version. And that obviously affected them. And they decided, right, we'll remove them. And what happened? The price come down of the game. And now more people are backing the game, which is...
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, because it's sometimes you're creating something that the game really isn't designed for. Because like Ben is saying, you're trying to appease the solo gamer. You're trying to accommodate that 5 and 6 players. There's so many expansions that I got the expansion and I like the mechanics of the expansion. But when we added the 5th or the 6th player, the game just got so cumbersome, and the downtime between turns, for instance, became kind of exhausting. And and then everybody's on their phone because they're waiting for the other person. If it's the type of game that doesn't require you to stay engaged, you've just added another 10 minutes to each round or more. And yet those expansions sell.
I think that falls into like the collector maniacs that are out there. I mean, there was a time when I had to have it all. And I tried to start collecting all the Carcassonne, for example. And you realize that you don't even play with them. You play with the base game because you're always teaching it. And then, as you say, some of the expansions will just throw the different player counts out the window, which is not much fun.
The game Francis Drake is such a great example for me. I love Peter Hawes, his designs. I love Francis Drake, and I like it a lot playing at 3 players. I like it a lot playing at 4 players. It's less intense when you're playing 3 and 4, but when you add the 5th player and you're playing that game, you are that third round of sailing where everybody's trying to get that third objective to make sure they get the maximum amount of points. The tension. I mean, people are standing up around the game and can't wait till the decision, and they reveal the token and who got the initiative. It's just like, and at 5 players, it's phenomenal. It's my favorite 5-player game. But there's an example where player counts absolutely make a difference. Yeah. Jesse Shaky has a comment about Forbidden Stars. Okay. And he says it's not as fun at 4 players. It's best at 2 or 3. And there's a game that has a lot of take that in it. And when you don't have, if you have an even balance, sometimes I could see what he's saying, that at 3 players, it creates a different tension.
Yeah. And again, take that games with very small numbers of players is not fun. I don't like playing take that games with 2 or 3 players. It needs to be 4. Then I don't feel that I'm being picked on all the time.
So you're not ganged up on,
Yeah, you're not ganged up on so much. And the take that is then distributed. If you're like the luck of the deck, for example, you're drawing cards. You're not going to be every round drawing the bad card while your opponent draws the good card. Again, Guillaume did a review of a game recently as well. It was basically that 2 players. It was the luck of the draw, which kind of like decided the fate of your game. So it's take that needs more players, definitely. I don't like playing take that games with less than 3. And again,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
And again, going the reverse of that, I would say that Catan is better with 4 players than it is with 3 players.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more downtime, but you don't really feel it. And I mean that, as you say, more players, that is a big bugbear, downtime. But
Jesse mentioned this last night, but he makes a comment about TI4.
Yeah,
that he loves it at 4-player instead of 2-player because you get 2 of those strategy cards, and so you have 2 actions basically each time. Whereas Josiah and I were kind of the opinion that we like the 6-player because there's so much more negotiation, and because that game is so epic anyway, having 6 people in the room engaged for that amount of time is just an amazing experience. But I love the game so much, I might enjoy doing it like this because we could probably play the game much quicker and experience that too. So I kind of see his point.
Yeah, when I played TI 3, we played an 8-player game. And yes, it was long because players took their time. But at the same time, well, it's not your turn. You were negotiating with other players and having a laugh. And so I didn't see the time pass. We were like 3-4 hours into a game. And even though the conclusion was just really of a letdown because there's a card that you draw from the deck every round. And it just said, oh, it's the end of the game now. Whoever's got the most points is the winner. And it was like, oh, a bit of a letdown. But we had fun. I had plenty of opportunity to negotiate with other characters and attack someone that I didn't like because they were just doing really stupid actions. And it was like, okay.
And you get to plan an entire day. You get to break for pizza.
Yeah.
And
well,
awesome.
we didn't have that because we started at midnight and we finished at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, you played it in 4 hours?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
8 players. As I said, that card came out and the game over.
Wow, that's unusual. And that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. But maybe it's just the French version of the game that does that.
So what we talk about player counts, what do you think about solo gaming then?
Solo gaming is another kettle of fish. I don't think that publishers should deliberately put a solo version into a game. Again, because sometimes they bump up the price of your base game. And if a game is designed to be played with multiple players, it should be just that. And maybe if they want to do a solo version, it should be like an add-on with a Kickstarter or an expansion if it's a retail. I mean, there was a time when, yes, I would play solo games like Viticulture with the automaton, and it was fun. Mm-hmm. But then as soon as I got some friends to play with, the game was better with friends than it was playing against a deck of cards telling me that your opponent now has 15 points. You now have to run now. And it's like, and a lot of games are doing that now. And it's like, well, that's not really a solo version of the game. That's just going up against a calculated
you gave a good example though, Jamie Stegmeyer at Stonemeyer Games with Viticulture. He kind of has that automata system, if you will. I know it's a little different for each game, but that's something he generally incorporates into his designs to make sure, I think, because he's sensitive to the market need for a solo game.
Yeah.
He tries to design and pick games that will play that way okay. Versus just going, okay, here's a game designed for 3 and 4 players, but because we have to, we're going to make a solo version. We know it sucks, but at least it's on the box. It says solo, or it says 5, 6 players. To me, it's just almost deceptive.
Yeah.
And it's trying to get somebody to buy something. And you're selling them something that's a little subpar in a sense, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it's sometimes it works out subpar, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does work as a kind of a challenge. I mean, I think a lot of it depends on your mentality of what you're looking for in a game. Some people want a crossword and they want to find every single word in that crossword. Whereas some people will see a crossword and they sit around with their friends and do it. And some people will just do a crossword and don't care if they finish it or not. And a lot of solo games that I've played with their solo variant are kind of like, this is the bar. Now play the game and try and get just one leg above it. For example, Viticulture or Agricola. And I kind of did enjoy doing that. But as I said, it's not the same when you're playing against human players as you are.
I think what I love about gaming is the social interaction. And so sitting down and playing a game by myself, it's generally not. I'm not motivated to do it. I'm generally, if I need some downtime, alone time, I'm going to watch Netflix or something where I can rest and be able to have my mind relax. But there's a relaxation that comes with playing with other people. Like last night was a very fun, refreshing time for me because I haven't had a lot of opportunities to play board games, and that wears on me a little bit sometimes. And so I think. I went away for this retreat one day for a couple days about a year and a half ago, just to get a little alone time and just to kind of clear my thoughts. And I brought the game Imperial Settlers from Portal Games. It's one of my favorite games. I really love that game. But I had to sit and read the solo instructions. And for about the first 20 minutes, I was going, why am I doing this? I don't like this. I'm sitting here playing a board game all by myself. I don't like it. And then something switched. All of a sudden, a tension came in where, I got to do this or I'm not going to win. And all of a sudden, I started puzzling, and I really enjoyed it. So it may be that I just haven't played enough solo games. I backed Nemo's War, based on the recommendation from Jamie Keggy at the Secret Cabal. And I backed the Kickstarter. I just got all the goodies in this summer. I haven't played it yet. I haven't had time to play it at all. But I'm kind of excited about playing that one because I heard how good it is solo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Again, I've drifted away from solo apart from one game. One game which I say is probably best solo, so you don't get screwed over by your opponents, is The Seventh Continent, because it's an adventure. Okay. And you're discovering the world, and you're making the choices, and there's no one there to tell you, no, don't do that, which is sometimes good. I mean, I'm not saying don't play it with more than one player. I'm saying that I do love playing it as a solo game, and it is kind of designed as a solo game, and like the extra players were added on, but they don't feel that way because it kind of balances itself out with how much everyone can carry, because that's all distributed differently. And then also having extra people gives you special bonus actions that you can do on your turn, which is an advantage of having more players. But I just like going off on, it's like reading a book, basically. What? It's like going, you know what, I'm going to read a book, but this book is sprawled out on your table, and you're making decisions in your book of where your story is going to go. I think like some of the games that I've purchased that were 2-player games, I bought them specifically because I thought these would be games that would be best played 2-player. And for that opportunity where it's just my son and I, or it's just my wife and I, or my daughter and I, that we get to play. And so I've made that, when a game just says 2 players, that turns some people off because they feel that it's not enough of a game. But in my mind, sometimes that's the best kind of game, because I know that it's designed for this back and forth. And this brings up another topic, but like, I love the game War Chest from AEG. Well, I love the 2-player, the way it's really designed, I think, but it does have this team play that you can do with 4 players, or Star Wars Rebellion. I love that game. That is the best game, but I don't like playing it when we have 4 players. 1775 from Academy Games. I love that game 2-player. We've played it with the teams, and it was okay. Better than other ones that are 2-player that you can expand. But I love the fact that there are some games that are specifically designed for this experience. Yeah. The King and the Assassins, or on Itama. I mean, they're abstract games, but I've just received the War of the World New Waves from Grey Fox Games, and I can't wait to play that. That's 2-player deck building.
There you go.
And I just can't wait.
Well, that's a good example too. If a deck builder just came to my mind was was, Star Rails came out by White Wizard Games, and then they had Hero Realms. Well, we played the team variant where we had 4 players, and then you're always deciding who's going to get the card between your team. And I hated it. I played it 2 players. I loved it.
Yeah. I can't remember where I was going to go, but anyway. And Andy says, Terraforming Mars is a fun solo game like a puzzle. I can say, yeah, games that are puzzles like Solitaire are good fun on your own. I'm just thinking back to SOS Titanic, which is Solitaire, the Spider or something like that. And that was fun to play on your own. And it wasn't very fun to play as 2 or 3 or 4 players.
Maybe in my retirement, I will be one of these old guys that has a whole bunch of time to just sit down and screw around and do nothing.
Yeah.
My life is so not like that.
No.
I have a hard time just getting together to play games with anybody. But it's like, I can see that it's a good activity. You keeps your mind active. Like he's saying, it's a puzzle.
Yeah.
There's things that are good about it as well.
It's a good way to learn the rules of a game.
In closing up, I have a thought. What do you think when you determine whether a game is good or not? Do you base it on whether it can be played at multiple player counts, or do you base it on, a design like a 2-player game? Because I'm thinking, the reason I ask this question is I'm thinking about some of my favorite games. And I like them at multiple player counts. And I'm wondering if that doesn't tell me something, because I know when you play it with 2 players, 3 players, or 4 players, it's a different experience. But my favorite games, I've played them at all of those player counts, and they are all equally good, even though they're different.
Yeah. Okay. I think I understood your question.
Yeah, it's a long question.
For me, I get the most experience, the most pleasure out of playing a game when I have a good number of players. For example, Sheriff of Nottingham, you need 5 players. The game is not as fun. There's no interaction with 3 or 4. 5 just seems to be the sweet spot. Again, when you're playing a game like Outlive, you need 4 players to fight for those resources. When you're playing Agricola, you need 3 or 4 players, not 2, not 1. Yeah, so the player count does, for me, kind of tell me if the game is great or not. I don't think there's a game that I've played with all player counts and it's still good. I mean, Viticulture.
Gosh,
but
I think about Orleans. I love that game. I love it at all player counts. I've played it at all of them.
Yeah, again, the Viticulture's 4 player for me is perfect. 5 is a little long, but still fun. And 2 is kind of just like this back and forth. And it kind of feels more like a solo version than as I said, you're playing against an opponent, which is a deck of cards.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm kind of thinking some of my favorite games play at multiple player counts well. Yeah. And there's very few games that I can think of that would be in my top games that only play well at certain player counts.
Yeah, I mean, Eldorado, you need 4 players. Jamaica, 4 players. I mean, 4 players seems to be like the good mark for me. Splendor, 4 players. Steam Park, 4 players. Museum, 4 players. Ticket to Ride, 4 players. They all that seems to be, for me, the mean average and the best count.
So for our poll, maybe we can come up with some questions about what are your favorite player counts. Does player counts influence your decision on a game? Purchase, that type of thing.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, companies, stop making solo and extra player versions of games included into the price of the base game. Put them as add-ons, okay? Because not everyone wants to pay that extra whatever for an extra piece or for an extra deck of cards, which they're not going to use.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Publish the game as the designer intended it, and then do all the extra stuff.
There you go. There you go. Ben says clap. We're over. No. Tiny Towns, good from 2 to a billion.
Tiny Towns, I can't wait to play.
I love playing Seven Wonders with 7 players. I love that. When we have the whole family around, I love that. But yeah, I hear you. Well, this has been fun, but we're going to shut down this episode of Burky and Badger Board Game Babble, episode 73, Counting Players. And Barry, would you want to tell everybody where they can find us?
Yes, I will. You can find us. I thought I had a graphic for it. No, I don't have a graphic for it. But you can find us at boardgametheatre.com, and you can also find us on boardgameseverybodyshould.com, as well as our Board Game Geek
2248.
Board Game Geek Guild 2248, where we post stuff regularly. Well, not regularly at all, but we post our polls there, we post our podcasts there, and there's also a calendar there, so you know when we're going to be streaming ahead of time. That's one thing we're trying to work on too, by the way, for everybody, is putting this, with Game Toppers and everything, that my life has just gotten complex. Barry has gotten very busy producing music also. Yeah. So it's been harder for us to stay on track. So what we're trying to do is produce some shorter shows that are about an hour to an hour and a half. And then we'll be doing another segment called The Woods of Evergreen, that we talk about our favorite games from yesteryear that we feel still stand the test of time. And by separating like this, we should be able to get 3 episodes a month and have a little bit more consistency. And we're actually going to be putting these on the schedule, and you'll be seeing a Thursday time slot that, with the exception of conventions where we have to run, or if someone's sick or something comes up, we generally are going to try to do that. The Woods of Evergreen segment will be a smaller segment that'll probably be a 30-minute segment or less, and this episode being around an hour to an hour and a half, depending on when we have guests. Yeah. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We love interacting with you guys. Thank you very, very much. And we're so happy that you joined us. Feel free to share Burky and Badger Board Game Babble Show with your friends, and maybe this will be something they would enjoy as well. You can find us on Twitter at Burky and Badger, Facebook, Burky and Badger. Everywhere else, you'll find us pretty easily. So with that, Barry, send us on out. Whee!
We're so glad we had this time together. Now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Burky and Badger will be back in no time.